Hi, my name's Hannah. Welcome to my channel. I post vlogs every Monday, main channel videos every other Friday, and this is another installment of webcam cases. If you hear any noise in the back, I'm on a loft landing, like that's my bedroom. So I have animals on the bed. One has a bell. Luca has a bell, and he's constantly going up and down and making the most noise. The washing machine's also going. Love that. I'm trying to make this audio the best I can. Bear with me, because it's eventually gonna get better. I'm diving into the Scott Peterson case. I was not alive when this case took place, but wait, no, I was. I was alive. I was like barely alive, but I was there. It's a crazy case. Trigger warning, the victim was pregnant when she was murdered. So, if that is sensitive for you, go ahead, click off, do what you need to do. I'm gonna be here on Monday. I would like to start off by saying all the information I received and compiled is all part of a TV series on Hulu, and it's The Murder of Lacey Peterson. It has about 6 episodes, and these episodes spanned from about an hour each. I watched all of them in a course of a day because I had quite literally nothing better to do, I guess. Let's go. Lacey Peterson, 27, 8 months pregnant, goes missing Christmas Eve morning in 2002 in Modesto, California. Her husband, Scott Peterson, was fishing at the Brinkley Marina the morning of her disappearance. A burglary takes place across the street from the Petersons' house, and to this day, the family believes there's somehow a connection to this. This eventually was debunked because the burglary had taken place the 26th and not the 21st. About 11 people witnessed Lacey walking the couple's dog, Mackenzie, that morning, and then when Scott gets home from fishing, the dog is in the backyard, leash still attached, and Lacey's car was in the driveway, but she was nowhere to be found. December 31st of 2002, a candlelit visual was held. Lacey at this point had been missing for about 7 days. Scott stayed out of the camera views. He did not speak to the crowd. 2 pictures were taken of him. One was with his niece, and the other was with him smiling. What? What? There was no physical evidence in this case, so it was very cut and dry. The only thing that was found with the trace of Lacey was unless pair of pliers and then hang in between the tongs. I have a pair of pliers, and I could probably show you, but they're over there. These pliers were found at Scott's place of work, and Scott's behavior through this case was very off. No side emotion shown. He was wearing gloves when they looked in the vehicles. To mention, the police said his house smelled like bleach, but Scott's family was like, no, it doesn't. But this is when it gets... What? Scott Peterson had a girlfriend while he was married to Lacey. He told this woman he was dating he did not have a wife and he did not have a child. Okay. Backstory, he told the lady his wife had died. What? And this would be his first holiday without her. What? He told the lady on December 9th of 2002, which, at this point, Lacey was not missing. At December 9th, he told this lady, hey, my wife died. I had a wife, she died. First holiday without her. What? He actually called this lady, Amber, her name's Amber, my bad, guys, at Lacey's visual, and claimed he was in Paris. What? He was in the what? They tried to tie Scott to another case. It was like Kingston Smart. I don't know if this case was very widely known. I can't even remember if I looked into it separately to kind of correlate to this one, but Kingston Smart was missing from a college that Scott had gone to, and this later was debunked and dropped. A private investigator talked to about 6 people seeing Lacey walking the dog from about 9 to 10:30. So she was walking the dog for sure, but like, where did she go after that? People from the police department say they never had anyone come forward about the walking dog thingy. So like, the private investigator was like, no. 6 people said she was walking the dog. The police department said no one ever saw her walking Mackenzie, the family dog. The couple's dog, I guess. They weren't a family yet. When being interviewed by the police on December 24th, Scott said his marriage was perfect with no problems. But being interviewed by news outlets, he claimed he told his wife about Amber, and that after argument after argument, Lacey was good with Scott and Amber being together. Well, Lacey was pregnant with the couple's child. What? What? Yeah, logic out the window. That makes no sense. February 3rd of 2003, this was Lacey's due date with the couple's son, and she was still missing. 4 months after she had went missing, so this is about April? Yeah. A tornado had washed up on the shore, and a person walking their dog finds it. And, like, the time frame of when this was found was about 11. And a body of an infant was found. Okay, wait. Yeah. A body of the infant, like, of a infant, was found first, like, 12 to 48 hours later. This tornado washes up, right? So, like, what? This all takes place at the San Francisco Bay. Huh? A few days after these bodies washed up, Scott went to go play golf with some pals. He believed it was the media, but it was the police, and they obviously came and took him into custody. But this is when it gets good. He was found with a fake ID, dyed hair, and about $15,000 in cash. What? What were you doing, bud? When they told Scott that the bodies of his wife and child, one single tear fell from his eyes. Okay. He later described his reaction as a terrible physical emotion. Scott pleads not guilty, so now they have to go on trial. Of course he pled not guilty. A person at the marina claimed they saw nothing inside Scott's boat. The private investigator believed this testimony would turn the whole case around. The trial had to be moved 3 times to make sure the jury wasn't biased because this was such a widely known case. The trial ended up taking place in San Mateo County, and the trial began June 1st of 2004. One key theory was Lacey was murdered the night before and then dumped in the lake the next morning, which that makes sense why no one saw her walking the dog. And, like, he went fishing, like, Computer searches from both the Petersons' home and Scott's workplace computers was presented. A search of sunflower umbrellas was shown to be searched the morning of the disappearance. So, like, a lot of people argue, like, oh, well, she was alive at this point. She was looking at sunflower umbrellas. Okay. Okay. I think it was about 50 available seats after the family. 25 went to the media, leaving about 25 seats. And when this case was so widely known, people would have to literally, like, pick a number to be called to get a seat. What? What? Okay. Okay. Another key thing when no physical evidence was found was strangulation, like manual strangulation. You would not need a weapon to do that, and there would be no physical evidence because it would be on you. Like what? That makes sense. Like, why? Yeah. Like I said, the only part of Lacey that washed up was her torso. So, like, wings and something. I guess, like, one of my things is, like, what if he, like, begged her and then weighed her down, and then, like, somehow the bag ended up with the torso, and then her... I don't know. It was believed that Scott held Lacey's body down in the bay with... Okay, yeah, you know what? With cement anchors. So, not, like, similar to my bag thingy, but not really, because she... Yeah. Scott already had one, and there was evidence that thingy were made in, like, at the Peterson's residence. Huh? One evidence is that thing was cement in the driveway, and he claimed he was trying to fill holes in the driveway with it. The interviews from the night of the disappearance found it suspicious that Scott had the receipt from the marina, but not from the gas station, because he had claimed he stopped at the gas station before he went fishing to get gas. Jury number 5 was dismissed because he made a comment. It later came out that the juror just could not keep his mouth shut and often mentioned the case when he shouldn't have. What? The juror that was dismissed, his name's Justin, and he was being interviewed by a lot of news outlets. He wanted to talk now that he was obviously released. Oh, I like have to sneeze, but I can't get it out. He believed that Scott was innocent due to the lack of evidence. Justin received death threats from his opinion on Scott being not guilty, and people on the jury also, like, afterwards kind of said they described Scott as, like, emotionless through this trial, which, hypothetically, if my spouse died and I was on trial for a murder, I can do something other than when pictures were shown of both Lacey and their unborn son Connor, he was emotionless, but reporters claim he showed emotion by looking down at his lap because he was moved by the pictures. Okay. Amber Frey, his girlfriend on the side, played a large part. They had a very romantic and intimate relationship, and what sold this was recorded phone calls between the two. Not only that, but during these recordings, Scott had no clue they were being recorded, so they are super, like, raw and real. And it said that in the tapes he seemed to be playing a part, kind of like a double life kind of situation. All the tapes were played, and it gave prosecutors new energy, as it should, I guess. One of the theories was how much weight you could successfully throw over without tipping the boat, or leaving scratches. Once again, this theory was debunked. Another theory was dog handling. The dog tracked Lacey to the boat launch pier at the marina. Defense thought this was crazy, and it was also useless. An OBGYN was brought to the stands. He Trying to say Cotton was still alive when Lacey died, and even lived up until December 29th. What? When cross-examination started, the doctor flaked, and it made his theory super hard to believe. Do I know if that was ended up being used? Most likely, but like, okay. A neighbor saw Mackenzie and Naomi in the shinny of the neighborhood, and another neighbor found the dog and put it back in the yard, like in the Peterson's yard. His time estimate from this was about 10:45, but he said his time could have been off. Women from the neighborhood were brought up to the stands to prove the point that no other person could have been mistaken as Lacey on the 24th. No one proved and said they saw Lacey on the 24th, like I mentioned before. Like, the private investigator said he's talked to 6 people saying they saw him. Police department said no one came forward and said they saw her. Closing arguments from the prosecution was that Scott felt trapped and didn't want a baby, adding that explains why he had a mischievous. Prosecution also showed a picture of pregnant Lacey sitting alone at a Christmas party while Scott was at a Christmas party with Amber Frey. Defense's closing argument was weak, and he seemed deflated. He even asked the jury if they hated Scott Peterson, which is so, like, weird. So, like, unhinged, I guess, like, okay. November 3rd, 2004, jury started to deliberate. On day 5, one of the jurors admit they had violated the order. They brought in a face that was seen in the courtroom. After this, absolute chaos ensued, and another juror was let go. The jury had to start over, but they made their choice by November 12th. November 12th of 2004, Scott Peterson was convicted of first-degree murder. After the verdict was read, people from outside the courthouse started to cheer. Jury number 8 was at a bar talking about the case, and the jury in this juror was not released and did not affect the conviction. Wow. I'm on my goofy mood today. After the conviction, Scott got the death penalty, and after the death penalty was received, the jurors, plural, my bad, seemed to be made stars, and this upset a lot of people. A lot. The juror named Strawberry Shortcake, that is her real name, I want you to know that, seemed to get under a lot of people's skin, and mainly the defense. The juror in question stated that he didn't make eye contact with her, and she found it rude and called him a jerk. The defense thought the conviction was ran by emotion, and like, a little bit. You're gonna sit here and tell me his wife and child died and he had no emotion? What? Some jurors brought up the idea of writing a book, and some of them started to collaborate on writing a book about their experience. After the trial, the bungaling came back into focus, as well as involvement. A tip about the bungaling came in that Lacey confronted the bungalings. As I mentioned before, this ends up being debunked because the bungaling takes place the 26th, she died the 24th. 2012, Scott filed for an appeal from death row. 3 main focuses of this on the jury: the evidence presented and excluded evidence, which I feel like that would make it really hard because they didn't have any physical evidence. Well, Scott is filing for an appeal. A group of women are putting together evidence to help him get the appeal for the death penalty. They're calling themselves the SPA team. Scott Peterson Appeal Team. What? May of 2003, there was a thingy that conning was handled from the womb, and they chalked it up to a cult. Like, you can tell me a cult found Lacey's body and was like, we will touch this baby. What? What? I don't know. Multiple pregnant women had gone missing, but another woman went missing around the same time as Lacey and was also 8 months pregnant. Was there evidence of this cult, babe? Didn't think so. The woman's body was found the same way as Lacey's, just a tongue or so, but her baby was never found. This theory is circulated mainly from meth and crime usage in Modesto, specifically 5 blocks from the Peterson's neighborhood. The dog theory was another important one to focus on. The neighbor stated she saw Mackenzie, the dog, out of the yard around 10:15. Leash still attached, she put the dog back in the yard and went upon her day. The mailman delivered a package around 12:45 and stated the dog was in the yard near the house because the dog was a barker, which makes this theory possible. Another theory was the bungalow that was debunked. One of the neighbors came forward, Steve Todd, and mentioned she did come and confront the bungalows, but with this theory, it makes no sense date-wise, but it could have gone full circle because a 45-minute walk, she puts the dog in the yard, saw the packages, and then saw the bungalow. Longness? I don't know. I think the whole, bungalow aspect's weird. And, it was all debunked, it couldn't make sense. So, the fact that people are still, grasping onto that is really weird, but at the same time, people are going to believe what they want to believe, whether Scott's innocent, whether Scott's guilty. Personally, I think he's guilty, but I could only speak on so much because there was no physical evidence. You know what I mean? Everyone could only speak so much because this case is missing so much, if that makes sense. With that being said, I'm going to end it here. I hope you enjoyed this video. If not, I'm sorry. I'm working. I'm trying to see what works best after the move. Also, I just found out my mic has a mute button on it. Kind of shocked. I will see you guys Monday for this week's vlog, actually. So,